Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. Good morning, Debo. Good morning, Jermaine.
Good morning, there, sir.
How's everybody on this Friday?
Great morning to you, sir.
Great. Um, today marks the sixth, and I hate to say anniversary, but the 60th anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X, born Malcolm Little. Uh, I got to stop saying that. Born Malcolm Little, May 19th, 1925, in Omaha, Nebraska. It was his life, was a life of just an incredible life, incredible imprint on our history here in the Americas. And today's book is the Dead Are Arising: The Life of Malcolm X. This is written by Les Payne and Tamara Payne. It's a great book. Again, we had, I think, highlighted last Monday before last, the autobiography of Malcolm X, which was used to do the film Malcolm X, done in 1992 by Spike Lee. So Malcolm X, it's amazing how some people are bigger in death than they are in life. But Malcolm X had just an incredible impact on the movement and the uplift of our folks. So I'd like to do this. I'd like to start off the program with the eulogy that Ozzie Davis did for Malcolm X.
This is no more. The assassination of Malcolm X was an unfortunate tragedy, and it reveals that there are still numerous people in our nation who have degenerated to the point of expressing dissent through murder, and we haven't learned to disagree without being violently disagreeable.
Here, at this final hour, in this quiet place, Harlem has come to bid farewell to one of its brightest hopes, extinguished now and gone from us forever. It is not in the memory of man that this beleaguered, unfortunate, but nonetheless proud community has found a braver, more gallant young champion than this Afro-American who lies before us, unconquered still. I say the word again as he would want me to, Afro-American. Afro-American Malcolm. Malcolm had stopped being Negro years ago. It had become too small, too puny, too weak a word for him. Malcolm was bigger than that. Malcolm had become an Afro-American, and he wanted so desperately that all his people would become Afro-Americans too. There are those who still consider it their duty as friends of the Negro people to tell us to revile him, to flee even from the presence of his memory, to save ourselves by writing him out of the history of our turbulent times. And we will smile. They will say that he is of hate, a fanatic, a racist, who can only bring evil to the cause for which you struggle. And we will answer and say unto them, did you ever talk to Brother Malcolm? Did you ever touch him or have him smile at you? Did you ever really listen to him?
You haven't done the right thing.
Was he ever himself associated with violence or any public disturbance? For if you did, you would know him. And if you knew him, you would know why we must honor him. Malcolm was our manhood, our living black manhood. This was his meaning to his people, and in honoring him, we honor the best in ourselves. However much we may have differed with him or with each other about him and his value as a man, let his going from us serve only to bring us together now. Consigning these mortal remains to earth, the common mother of all, secure in the knowledge that what we place in the ground is no more now a man, but a seed which after the winter of our discontent will come forth again to meet us, and we shall know him then for what he was and is, a prince, our own black shining prince, who didn't hesitate to die because he loved us so.
Again, that was the eulogy that was done by Ozzie Davis at the funeral for Malcolm X, and man, just so poignant. I love hearing it. It is just a reminder of just the greatness of this man and the impact that he has had or is having on us, and the struggle continues. What up, DJ?
Good morning.
Yeah. So 60 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
Audubon Ballroom, I think 125th and Lenox there in Harlem. One of our bright princes was the guy. I kind of this morning was just reading the parts of The Dead Are Rising, the life of Malcolm X, and really talked about the end and how Malcolm had gotten to the point where he was a threat. I think, we had, I think, Medgar Evers in 1963, Malcolm X in 1965, Martin Luther King in 1968, and Fred Hampton
Mm-hmm.
in 1969. There's this whole thing that if you cut off the head of the snake, you'll kill the snake. It's always if you kill the leader. But Wyatt T. Walker, who was he was chief of staff for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference under Dr. King. I was at a King's Day celebration in 1976 at Little King's Garden at Tennessee State University in Nashville. And his talk that day was, don't ask what happened to the dreamer, ask what happened to the dream. And that the dream is bigger than the dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
The vision is bigger than the visionary. And so it's these things. And I love when Ozzie Davis talked about then, this was done in 1965, embracing Afro-American, embracing that, in fact, you're African. And so today, 60 years ago, assassination of Malcolm X. Okay. What's up, Mike?
That was it's kind of a somber start to the morning.
Yeah, I thought I'd get it out the way.
But it's I mean, it's definitely needed. All of those things. I was actually just thinking about Dr. King and Malcolm X and Medgar Evers and Fred Hampton, and I just had a brief thought that, like, they wouldn't allow either of them to see 40. I don't know, now that I'm in my 30s, it's just 40 is like a golden age, and obviously they've done so much in the time that they were here, respectively, but they didn't have the opportunity to see 40 and what that would have meant. And because especially with Dr. King, he would have been entering into the 70s, and
he would have been 9.
No, I'm talking about the decade.
The decade.
Yeah. And just how much turmoil and change went on during that decade, in respective to the 60s and how much was going on in the 60s. Just so, I just had I always, for the longest, I always had April 4th in my head, and I never knew why, until it was one day I realized that that was the day Dr. King was assassinated. So I was like, for whatever reason, that date was ingrained in my head, and It's the same with this day too.
So, question, and I was thinking about this with with Malcolm X passing and Martin Luther King passing. Do you think, as a whole, as Black people, if they would have never died, that we would be where we at now?
That's an interesting question. One could argue. I asked my mom this question, and I said, "Well, are we better off now?"
Mm,
And my mother said, "Well, some of us are," and that's partly because of the struggle and the sacrifices that these men in particular made,
mhm,
for the struggle. Um, it's just for a moment. DJ was talking about people not getting to 40. Alexander the Great had conquered the world by 32.
mm.
Jesus lived to
Yeah,
be 33.
33.
So sometimes it really depends on, you have folks who live a long life.
Yeah.
Dr. King, in the famous, I hate to say mountaintop speech, but where he was there at Mason Temple Church of God in Christ, Memphis,
Yeah.
April 3rd, 1968, he says, longevity has its place. Like any man, I'd love to live a long life. But Dr. King always knew that death was always
Around the
around
corner.
him.
Yeah.
Malcolm did too.
Malcolm did too, and especially towards the end, where now he's that rivalry that he's having with the Nation of Islam has really escalated. There is a documentary, Who Killed Malcolm X.
I'm conflicted with that documentary.
Yeah, me too. Because I seen parts of it, and
I seen the whole thing. If you see the whole thing, you get from beginning to end.
yeah,
You're still gonna be left with questions.
Oh yeah.
But for me, it's more frustration because they allegedly, this was the individual. Now they got all this documentation, and I will sing this to the mountaintop.
yeah,
No pun intended.
yeah.
They lied to us about Christopher Columbus.
Of course.
So
of
so like
course.
they laid down a lot of documents
Yeah.
that really would lead you to believe that individual was the one who killed Malcolm X. But it's like,
Oswald, man. They
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think Lee did it.
oh yeah, and even there's a lot going on with JFK. But
Or
the co-
Sirhan, a lot of questions in terms of
the
was he the
community,
person who killed
Yeah.
Robert F. Kennedy?
the community, the
Yeah.
community knew that this was like a quiet kept secret.
Yeah.
Even some public officials, and for them to just like let that ride for so long, it leaves me conflicted.
Well, I think just even now that with this whole John F. Kennedy stuff coming out and they releasing, documents, I think that this is just me speaking. I think that the government had something to do with Malcolm and Martin Luther King being assassinated.
Duh.
Well, what I'm saying is this. See, what I'm saying is this. How it's portrayed that the government wasn't involved. So, like when you watch document, these stories, and you see the movie of the Malcolm X, and you see all these other movies. I just believe that that's so secretive that that if it really hit the fan, that who was really involved, like the CIA and the FBI and all these people with intelligence capability that was able to spy on these people, I think that it would really turn the country upside down and probably cause a revolution, man.
But what's
I think we know everything you're talking about. We know already.
Well-
we've been knew. I mean, we knew that Dr. King didn't die from the gunshots in 1999 when the family won the civil lawsuit.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't die from the gunshots. He did die from the gunshot. He died instantly.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. The autopsy. There's an autopsy from his body. He died from suffocation. He
Right.
was still alive in the hospital.
Man, by the time the damage that was done to
They
Dr.
were saving him. It's a I think it's the actual lawyer that represented the King family.
They can make that argument, but the people, the witnesses who were there, said that he was dead. He was gone. It wasn't gone. You couldn't have. It was like Kennedy. You could have did. He was done. I mean, he might have shot. I mean, that headshot.
The autopsy would have said the bullet wound. It wouldn't say suffocation. And on top of that,
Suffocation
it's
because of the
because
bleeding.
you're choking, bro.
He's choking from the blood.
Yeah, you're choking from the blood, which is
from that gunshot.
You,
okay.
There is King in the Wilderness, and there's a young lady who was Dr. King's assistant, and she talks about
he was still alive in the hospital. I'm telling you that official documents. I mean, that's the main reason why they were able to win the civil suit. That you wouldn't be able to win the civil suit if what they were saying wasn't true.
No, all you have to do in a civil suit is just show it's the preponderance of evidence.
Right.
It's a lower standard than you would do if you were
it's not
criminal.
it's not the the criminal the what is it the reason with all reasonable doubt something
doubt.
to
Beyond
that
reasonable doubt.
yeah, beyond reasonable doubt. But in the civil suit you still have to have substantial evidence in order to, you just can't make a baseless claim and win.
So was that civil suit based off of them being racist towards him, and this is why they won the suit?
I'm not even familiar.
I'll look it up.
He'll pull it up. Okay. I do know that was a devastating gunshot wound, just based on everything. He wouldn't have survived.
No, if you get hit in the neck,
in the jugular,
all these veins it's going to shoot the blood, which is going to cause you not to be able to breathe.
Right. Now there's some questions about the people who were administering aid to Malcolm and whether or not. But again, the trauma that his body experienced from the gunshots.
He got shot 16 times.
Yeah, I mean it was brutal. I think the other piece of it is James Earl Ray always insisted that he didn't do it, and the family kind of believed that he didn't do it, right? But this whole conspiracy, how he was able to get away, and the whole piece. Again, if you're ever in Memphis, I strongly suggest that you visit the National Black History Museum there at the Lorraine Hotel.
Yeah.
To be able to, but government involvement. Oh, I believe that.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely.
Yeah, because how you gonna get surveillance and all of those intelligence
and things like the cops? Normally, there would be cops everywhere. There was not a cop other than the undercover cops.
Exactly.
Who were in?
But I mean, the footage shows you that. I mean, no regular person is having substantial amount of footage of the whereabouts of these people. So that alone tells you. And then their phones was tapped.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So like that alone tells you that it was
COINTELPRO. But they talk about here how Malcolm, prior to that particular event, was well guarded.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he did the training for the Fruit of Islam in terms of doing things. And so they talk about the people who had weapons who guarded him. And for whatever reasons on that day,
they wasn't around.
And that day, I don't think they checked people for weapons coming in. Now, I've gone to a Savior's Day. I had the opportunity to go to a Savior's Day. They pat everybody down. Yeah. Everybody was patted down. So it's things kind of lead up. Like, why did Kennedy decide to do a, like an open car, parade where there had been threats of assassination? So, I mean, there are things that happen. But yes, conspiracy with a Q.
If you, obviously you can find anything on YouTube, but on YouTube, it has the lawyer, making the claims that I said, and then also it linked in the civil suit because like you said, the guy said that he wasn't the one.
Oh yeah, that's
who
what
did
they were.
And then
they were.
So
going.
they followed those two claims based on whatever evidence that was gained.
All right, got callers, or you want to call? Or want to go to break? What you? No, call. Okay, caller, welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. How
good morning.
Guys? Hey, I'd like to know what each of you gentlemen thought if Farrakhan had anything to do with orchestrating, the death of Malcolm X? I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Minister Farrakhan has said that he was complicit because he was part of the atmosphere that had developed in the Nation of Islam. The worst thing you could be called is a hypocrite, right? And at that point, they had because of there was a couple of things that happened. One, obviously, Malcolm was generating a great following. That created a certain level of jealousy among the hierarchy there. And then later, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Then it was Malcolm who went out and went public with the relationships that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was having with young secretaries. So when talking about this, and this is what I heard Minister Farrakhan say, that that was the atmosphere. Everybody, they had competing mosques trying to figure out who was going to kill Malcolm X, because at that point he had gone public with some private things. And again, there was a rivalry. There were people there who were very jealous of Malcolm. That happens.
He wasn't popular with the nation
and that's the other thing. Real quick, thank you for that. King in the Wilderness, Malcolm X. Again, we have a different view of Malcolm X today than they had in 1965. I'm talking about black folks. We have a different view today of Dr. King than folks had in 1968 of Dr. King. So it's one of those things where maybe it's the fog of history where we go in or we try to sanitize it for what our purposes. But there were a lot of things I think that contributed to the death of Malcolm X. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Now, back to Community Voice with your host, Keith Parris and Devon Jones, DJ The Protege.
I'm a part of the family.
Christmas tree when he hear his name. DJ The Protege.
All right, welcome back, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, you on there?
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
I knew he was
Assalamu alaikum to you all. Well, there was a reason
Salam,
probably.
brother.
Yes, sir, Mr. Debo. Listening to you all talk about Malcolm, I don't know who's like the oldest person in the studio, like, because Malcolm is a part of what is called the first term. And to my understanding, we were never told of I don't know who was jealous of Malcolm X. And when it comes to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, black people do not view him properly, in a proper light, because what you all are talking about, it gives the impression that there was some rivalry or something like that with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad over a young lady, and that was not the case. And
No, that's not what was said. Let's not do that.
Well, I said the impression.
Well, I don't know how you got that impression.
Yeah.
What we were talking about was, and it has been documented, and I saw some of the children at the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. They were there. The Honorable Minister introduced them, right? And he had a conversation, I think, with Malcolm's oldest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
The issue was that Malcolm had exposed, but yeah, there were rivalries within the Nation of Islam, like you have in any institution where men are. I mean, if you got a thing where somebody's getting more light,
But it
than
wasn't.
somebody
It
else,
wasn't about women.
No, not at all. No, it was Malcolm going public with something that people thought should have been private. All right. You want to do your perspective, man? Or what you want to do?
I guess.
You got it pulled up. It's getting hot in here. Take off my clothes.
Your clothes,
Take
Keith,
my
please.
clothes off.
No. Don't even insinuate.
Go.
Wait, but let me get my mind right. Okay, you got the perspective coming?
I don't know. Are we doing the perspective? All right.
Oh, no.
You gotta
You got
introduce
you call him.
And now it's time for the protege's perspective. Go ahead. Got to do it right, you know.
Yeah, man. Success is something that is often chased, stressed, and programmed in our minds. Often success is chased and there is no place. It is often stressed, but chasing success will create stress. Habitually, I've heard that we live in a simulation, which explains why we are programmed to chase something that creates stress. Success is also subjective. What is celebrated or touted as success varies from person to person. A vision that universally represents success is riches or an abundance of money. Others view success in Frank Sinatra's term, I did it my way. Moreover, the thought of success is ever expanding, but success is the result of a win, and a true win comes from within. The fragility of success is astonishing. So many things have to take place and make shape in order for success to enter the room. Yet, all it takes is for one mishap for progress to either be halted or lost. Religiously, material things are flaunted in an effort to exude success, but material things aren't the true indicator of success. We've heard many keys to success, from discipline to consistency to faith, sacrifice, and even a bit of stubbornness. There are so many keys to success that it would take 10 janitors to collect and present all of the keys. Success is that broad. One key that is usually forgotten is to have fun. Sustained success is enjoyable, whether it's through competition, business, and even relationships. If it isn't fun, it probably won't last. In my own experiences through competition, I've experienced losses while not having fun. And this is probably the worst feeling on the spectrum. I've experienced wins while not having fun. And while winning is certainly better than losing, the enjoyment wasn't there. And thus, there was no fulfillment in winning. On the other hand, losing while having fun isn't necessarily the best feeling, but it does breed optimism and a newfound hope and excitement for the next opportunity to get better. Lastly, there's the greatest feeling of them all, winning while having fun. Winning while having fun brings fulfillment and ultimately understanding to your purpose, which could produce peace and liberation. Don't let the need for success steal your joy. I'm a huge proponent that you can have your cake and eat it too. There are many keys to success. Success can be gained in many ways, but success without fun will bring you nothing but stress, and there's no success in that.
Appreciate that, man. I got a question.
Mhm.
Is losing ever fun?
If you,
Yeah.
I think losing can be fun.
yeah,
Because it's the thrill of the challenge, whether you win or lose, it can be enjoyed.
and it's about what is your intentions in going through with it. You know, like if you like, because you can win and not have fun. You know, like I said, I've had many times where I've won and it wasn't enjoyable. I mean, obviously it's better than
DJ,
losing. You know,
I get an opportunity to go out on the court and just shoot around first 1 to 10 against Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have fun doing it, but I
Right.
know what the outcome gonna be already.
Right.
But you mean to tell me I'm not gonna enjoy that moment?
Right.
Well, I mean, it depends on the situation because that can be like, and I'm just using this as an example. That can be like in an argument. You can win the argument, but it's like, what did I really accomplish with winning this argument? Because, yeah, I won the argument between me and you, but I still feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the losing aspect,
you don't feel the same way you do if you lost the
right.
argument.
But it could be a lesson learned instead of a loss.
Well, they said that losing is character building.
But yeah,
I don't know about all of that.
no, but it is true.
It teaches some things.
But you gonna have to take.
Spanking. I just took a spanking.
You gonna have to take the L.
Yeah, you do a whole lot of L's. I sit up and ask all the brothers, have you ever won a fight against a woman? I'll wait.
Nah, Doc, you ain't gonna win.
I ain't got nothing but L's.
Yeah.
Is
it a loss or is it a learning
No,
experience?
it's both.
Right. It's one thing you should have learned a long time ago.
Right. Why am I be arguing with her?
Yeah, you're
It's
not
just-
gonna win.
Is this one rapper that said, "Don't be mad, I whooped your ass because I took in a couple."
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're gonna
So,
take
you
some
know-
L's, man.
You know, it's a part of the process.
See, but let me tell you something, man. I tell people this. In a situation like that, I come to do two things.
Mm-hmm.
Chew bubble gum and whoop ass, and I'm done chewing gum.
Hey, tough guy.
I'm done chewing gum.
Okay, tough guy.
Man, Mr. Miyagi over here.
I'm done chewing gum. I came to do two things.
All right, where's this spoon?
And I'm done.
I'm
chewing
done.
gum.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions?
I will ask that you gentlemen watch your language. The kids are watching and listening.
What do we say?
Ass.
You just said it.
Oh, did I say it too?
So I guess you done chewing gum too.
Yeah. I'm fresh out of bubble gum. I'm fresh out of gum.
Does anybody remember the line from House Party when the cops ran up on Robin Harris?
What did he say?
It was something like I did something. I got to pull it up. It is Sarah's kind of the same vein, you know. It's just like, but you know, it used to be the threats that my mom used to make. One of my favorite ones was, and you got to remember, this is point in time down. We had the old emergency room, so my mom was saying, 2 of us going downtown. One going to the emergency room and one going to jail. You figure out which is which. And now here you go like, whoa, I wonder, let's see. I don't think she's going to the emergency room. But, you know, when she put that kind of threat on you, like you going to need medical assistance.
You know the one I always liked? Boy, you just gonna keep on. You keep on. When I get you, I'm gonna get you for old and new. Did they ever tell you
man, that one was.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you for old and new.
I ain't never heard that one.
Oh
What?
yeah, I'm gonna be on you like white on rice.
Oh yeah.
I want to get the call.
My mama said, "I'll knock you in the middle of next week."
Oh man, hit that dude so hard. He saw his ancestors. Caller.
Caller, welcome to the program.
You so-and-so's boy, ain't you?
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning. Caller.
All right.
So you Clifford's boy, ain't you?
Used to be. Let's get to it. Hey, y'all, Friday's list. List. Movies or television shows that Denzel Washington, Lawrence Fishburne III, and Wesley Snipes. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Was he junior or the third? I think he's the third. So anyway, when we get through our little stuff, our Friday's list, movies that Denzel Washington was in and TV shows, Lawrence Fishburne, and Wesley Nino Brown.
I mean, Denzel, he could just have his own section.
I know you do, yeah, but I thought I'd bring in some folks and all right. Caller, welcome to the program.
You're on air. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you all thank you again for taking my call. I'm looking to you all. And I'm not calling to be contentious at all. I'll do my best. When you were speaking about Malcolm and what happened with him, I think that what our community has to understand, and that it probably should be driven more so than anything else, is how J. Edgar Hoover had a memoranda or thing that he sent throughout to all the other agencies to be on the lookout for the rise of a black messiah, and they wanted to prevent that. They said that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was too old. They said it could either be Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. Stokely Carmichael, I believe I'm not sure about Fred Hampton and the other brother with the Black Panthers. They had an entire list, and they had targets of black men who were preeminent in the black community, who had targets on their heads, and they were they were considered to be too powerful or too unruly or nonconformist to the Eurocentric way of life. They wanted black people to, be independent or work towards that effort. So what I'm saying is this: the people who killed Malcolm X are the very same people who have killed every black leader that has ever risen up in America. It is the government of the United States of America, and it doesn't matter if it was from George Washington until the one who's the president now. Their MO has not changed since 1555, and any black person that is unwilling to conform or become compromised or be used as a tool to play against its people, they will target you, and they will do whatever it takes to sully your name, to malign your character, and to ultimately destroy and discredit you. That is what they have always did. That's what they've done with the prophets, from Adam to Zechariah, from A to Z. the satanic mindset has to be destroyed, and the only way that the satanic mindset is to be destroyed is if we have a revolution of our thinking first as a people and understand that we don't have any allies within the government of the United States of America or any other European ran society. And I hope that makes sense.
It did. You're right.
Thank you.
And Dr. King, COINTELPRO, right, where you went after, and particularly he, J. Edgar Hoover had a Jones for Martin Luther King in particular. He called him the greatest liar in America. He talked about his hypocrisy because of his personal life, but there was the fear of the threat to the status quo.
That he liked to mess around?
Yeah. You gotta remember, messing around in the 60s, being publicly exposed is very different than messing around today and being publicly exposed.
Yeah, but behind closed doors, a lot of people did it.
What I think I used a word there. What was the word?
Public.
Exposed.
So
that's the greatest sin.
So
exposure.
True, it is. But that, I mean, that shouldn't that should only make you feel some type of way, unless he was just messing with your wife.
Say that what?
So that should only make you feel some type of way unless he was messing with your wife.
Yeah, I would be feeling some kind of way.
Right. But I'm saying if he wasn't messing with your wife, then
I know he can preach.
That wouldn't make me.
Oh man, I know you're a better preacher than me. What you messing with who?
He was laying some extra hands. Huh?
I guess, man. Let's do this. Let's get through our list. Like I said, things we wanted to talk about today. We broke it yesterday on the air. Bobby Portis's 25-game suspension for use of a banned drug. 25 games, man. That's
a lot.
There's only 29, well, 28 left now.
Yeah.
Which makes sense though, because he had a hiatus.
But listen though, bro. You get suspended for using pain medicine and an anti-inflammatory pill that the league didn't regulate is crazy to me. That's what Doc was saying in his press conference yesterday. It was like, okay, do we understand the rules, but some stuff should be common sense. Like if you playing back to back, you gonna swell up. Mm-hmm. You playing back to back games, you running them down the court and you putting pressure on your joints and bones, you gonna swell up.
Yeah, but I think if it's and that's my question. When you're dealing with that, does not the trainer or the team physician say that these are acceptable drugs and these are not?
I think every player should present to their health staff all of the supplements that they take, because they are the experts of that. And then they can, hey, this is against the rules, this is not against the rules, but we do have it. And they can provide some alternatives, you know?
All right. You're listening to Community Voice. We're up on the break. We'll be right back.
In times of crisis,
Voice with your host, Keith Parris and Devon Jones, DJ The Protege.
All right, welcome back. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You on there?
Good morning, Pastor Pete.
What happened?
What up, DJ?
What's going on?
Who all gonna be
What
there?
up, Booster Cable?
Hey, Jack.
You got a
What
new
up,
name every
Simon?
time I
Listen
come
here,
here.
man. AKA everything.
What's happening, player?
Whatever. What up, Simon? All right, this one right here gonna take a little math, so you're gonna have to put your thinking caps on.
Uh-oh.
Not much. Okay, Sonny Boy and Lucinda Bartholomew. It was their 60th birthday. They was born on the same day. What a blessing. So they was sitting in their old raggedy shack down in Parris, Mississippi, population 4. So they was watching TV. So all of a sudden a genie popped out the TV. Said, happy birthday. I'm going to grant each one of y'all one wish. So Lucinda said, I wish for a beautiful house. The genie said, bing, gave her a beautiful house. So Sonny Boy jumped up. He said, I wish for a beautiful wife that's 30 years younger than I am. So the genie went, boo, made him 90 years old. Ain't that a...
I get it. It wasn't that funny though.
Ain't that a dud?
Yeah, that's your first.
Man.
That's your first one. For
Man,
me.
it's going to be fried. For Saturday, it's going to be 40 degrees, man.
Hey, I'm trying to figure that one out though.
No, he made
He
him.
wa-
He made
he
him.
wanted
made
a
him
wife.
90 years old.
Right, so
his-
she's
his wife
60.
is 60. Yeah.
I got that part. But what was the
Okay, he
funny-
wanted a wife 30 years younger than him.
Right.
He wanted a young 10.
Oh, so he wanted a wife younger than him. He 90, so he got one.
No,
No,
he's
he made
60.
him 90. He wanted somebody 30.
Hey, man.
He wanted somebody in their prime.
No. Both of them was 60 years old.
Both of them 60. Okay.
Okay, he wished for a wife 30 years younger than him.
Right.
So
He wanted
which
somebody
one made
that's
her
30.
right?
Okay, but the genie made him 90.
Oh, and left the wife, whoever he was with, at 60.
Yeah, thank you.
They
Oh,
told me there'd
man.
be no math.
Yeah, you
No, he didn't.
Ain't my fault y'all can't count.
We can count,
we
but,
count.
but we didn't
It just wasn't
understand.
funny.
hey DG, dungeon guy. You gonna have a long weekend, man. You
Yeah,
gotta come
Doc.
back Monday.
Yeah, you
Brimstone.
gotta try to redeem
Yeah,
yourself.
man. You got a long, but you got time to work on one. All right.
Yeah, Brimstone.
Brimstone.
Yeah, back in the dungeon, Brimstone.
BG, the dungeon guy. All right.
Keith,
Yes, sir.
I got a lot of folks reach out to me.
They retching out.
They reached out on your
Well,
day.
okay. So on the
They-
list
on the black funerals.
on black funerals. Oh, okay. I talked to a clergy friend of mine. He said, I thank you all for having that conversation. Because, black folks at funerals.
Boy.
Well, let's do, I could do this. DJ, you wanted, let's see. We had a couple of things. One, resource officers in school.
Mm-hmm.
You're against it.
I've always been against it because prior to that, there was no formal training on, like, you working with these kids in a school environment. These aren't criminals, and then it just breeds the whole school to prison pipeline thing when you add police into what's supposed to be a learning environment. Oftentimes when you talk to kids and they walk into certain places, they'll be like, oh man, this look like jail. This used to be a jail, which me being formerly an educator, but still working in the youth juvenile justice system, that speaks volumes to the lack of inspiration that is poured into our kids, because a lot of that starts with the environment. And if our environment doesn't enlighten them to an aspect of, wanting to see something new and do something new, then it's just gonna, keep them into this school to prison pipeline that we've, constantly heard about.
I mean, and to be honest with you, I actually had this conversation that some of these schools do look like detention centers. They do look like jails, just from the lighting and all of
The
it.
colors.
The colors, it looked just like a jail. So when you have these officers in there, which I agree with them being there for the safety purposes, like the incident that happened last year at Bradley Tech with all of them guys that jumped on that.
But they were off school grounds.
No. They was outside of the school. It hold on. It started outside of school and then it moved to like towards down the street.
Right.
So it started outside
But once
of the
they're
school.
on the sidewalk, that's a different thing.
Yeah, but I know. But if the officers are there and they see the officers there, it would detour some of that behavior. Now, for those that want to act up, now it's no longer the school resource officers. Now is MPD that's operating. See what I'm saying? So if you can detour some of that stuff, because how they did that guy was unbelievable. I was so mad that I wanted to jump in my car and drive down there and help these
his relatives.
Man, help
wanted to do.
Man, I wanted to put hands myself. So I'm like, man, this is out of order. Now, I just believe that with these school resource officers or SROs should be trained
which
to
they
with,
said that they will be.
But they saying it and them doing it is two different things.
Well, we gotta wait.
Well, yeah.
We gotta wait and see.
But why didn't they do it the first time?
Hindsight is 20/20 always. Yeah. I would say that I am 1,000% against police officers being in elementary schools.
Oh, of course.
Well,
I'm a little. I'm
in elementary though, DJ. It's more for safety purposes. It's not what you see in high school.
Yeah, but some of these people, some of these officers do treat these kids like criminals.
I don't care about none of that. It's just like we say, certain things shouldn't be in certain places.
Yeah.
I don't believe that police officers should be in elementary schools. I'm a little more open to middle school, but in my opinion, if they're going to be anywhere, it should just strictly be the high schools. But I've heard that's not going to be the case. That they're going to be in more than just the high schools.
And correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen. I'm no renowned authority on the matter, but most instances you see. Sandy Hooks and all of the above were elementary schools, weren't they?
Yeah, in terms of shooting, and that's the interesting thing when you look at outside of urban. Look, I'm gonna be in terms of getting weapons in school. It's very difficult to get a weapon in the MPS school because of metal detectors and other things they have I know at the high school level, where they will have school shootings. There were questions about the engagement. So that's not the issue when you look at MPS. The issue is like you have, I'm trying to think of the school, one of the middle schools.
Where they get this money from? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's part of the budget. Part of the budget.
As that judge said, and I listened to him very attentively. He said, between the city of Milwaukee and the Milwaukee Public Schools, you guys both have over $1 billion apiece, two separate budgets. And you sitting here squawking over $1.5 million to pay for this? No, y'all gonna go half on it, and I want it done by this date. And you can't come back here talking about this, that, and the other. In fact, yeah, they need training. We're gonna give them on the job training. They're gonna learn while they do it, because it's gonna happen, or somebody's gonna be held in contempt of court.
All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. You on there?
DJ, how we doing?
I'm good.
This is Jamar.
Yeah, I know. I can always recognize your voice.
That's funny. How everybody doing today?
Good.
All right.
It's funny. Before you go, I was just talking to somebody about you when you dropped the jewel to me when I was a kid.
Man, I'm glad I was able to do that. So with the conversation y'all having about the school resource officers, Someone brought up the fact why they weren't properly trained initially. Training with officers hasn't become an issue until police reform around George Floyd. The police MPD has a whole department related to community relations, and I believe that those officers will be the staff in these schools. I believe Keith said it prior to me getting on, or it was Mr. Debo. The access to weapons is far greater than we've ever imagined. Tragically, a 4-year-old lost their life this week. In Racine, a young man brought a bag with a gun in it. That is our reality. So elementary school, middle school, high school, until we improve the quality of behavior in our community, which starts in the housing, in the house, and how the young people act in these schools. I believe that it's essential, not only for their safety, but the safety of staff as well, because now we're seeing a reduction in educators throughout the country. It isn't because they not pay, it's about their safety and the things that they deal with on a day-to-day basis. Thank y'all for allowing me to get on. Y'all be good.
Right,
You too. Appreciate you, man.
Caller,
Man,
welcome
I
to the
know.
program.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go.
No. But I know
Good
you
morning.
Go ahead.
Good
Oh,
morning.
boy.
Good morning. Thank you for accepting my call. And this is really a very important and sensitive
Hello.
Caller.
Well, as I was about to say, maybe she'll call back. I know everybody in this room had that one teacher, and maybe more, but I don't know, Miss Ely, Miss Harvey, who they didn't care. Go get your mama. Bring your mama back up here. I got something for her too. And she wasn't playing. You know, times have certainly changed. Whereas, you know, the discipline that you would get in the school, your mother would co-sign it. Like if he get out of line, tighten him up, and then make sure I know about it. He gonna get it again when he get to the house. That's just how that was when I was coming up.
Doc, when I was coming up, mama come get you at the school.
Yeah,
in front of everybody.
this is what I'm saying. But she ain't gonna be mad. She ain't gonna come up there cussing the teacher out.
Right,
why'd you put your hands on my? Don't you touch my? No. Mama didn't cut up like that, because it was a joint effort to pour into us and to make us better people. You know,
Exactly.
wherever you cut up at is where you getting it at.
Yeah.
And you know your child is jacked up.
Of course, yeah.
You know that. You have to live with them. That's why you send them to school, so you get some peace.
And hate when it ain't no school, because you don't want them there all day.
Right.
Some of these parents, and I've actually had this conversation with a young lady years ago. I seen her in the store, somebody who I knew. Her son was young then. He was about 4 or 5. And, you know, she had this attitude. You know, my son gonna be a beast. I don't want him to be no punk. He gonna be a beast. So I told her then, I'll never forget it. You got to be careful of what you speak over your kid, because you speaking that into existence. Well, I'm just saying he ain't gonna be no punk. Now that he's 13, 14 years old, going back and forth to jail, stealing cars, all this type of stuff, and she like, man, I need somebody to help me, and you know, my son this, and he just back. And I thought to myself, I wanted to tell her, but I didn't want to create a situation. I thought to myself when I saw this on Facebook, you created this.
I would have told her that. She talking about.
You spoke this over his life when he was young, 4 or 5. You didn't want him to be no punk, whatever. You know, my son, he gonna be a beast when he grow up. He gonna be a beast. Now he's a beast. And now you can't control this that you created. So this same person you called a beast, you got to send to school. And these teachers got to deal with what you created.
But I think
and he yours.
And it's that whole toxic masculinity that we put in our boys in particular. And the question is, you know, how we should be raising our boys, because it is one of those. Now
girls too, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying only particularly our boys, because our girls are going to do better. They're going to do better. and a lot of it is just, my mother used to say this. She said, the problem is we let these boys play too much, as opposed to having them sit down, get disciplined, do da. You just let them play, and don't let them be an athlete, because then it's just all bets are off. Because now you got, and especially if dads are involved, now you vicariously living through your child, the frustrations of your academic, your athletic careers, all those things. When I love that that neighborhood football league that they do over at Lincoln Park, and you see all these dads out there. Hey, dude, you going to school? Check on them. Because that there is, and then if and kids work this way, they will do things based on the positive affirmation that you give them, right? So if you take time to read with your child, and man, that every time you do, oh man, you so good, they remember that. I mean, that is something where, one of the reasons Kennedy will bring a book is that she's going to get positive affirmation for her ability to read the book. She can figure that out, where if it was something negative, she's not coming your way, right? So, but who am I? I'm not a parent. I know people, you have your own thing.
Stop saying that, and I get sick.
No, I say that in terms of there's going to be people pushing back, telling me their lived experience as a parent and what they've gone through. And there's a lot of factors going. I met with a group of men last night.
But especially with teachers deal with your kids more than you do during the school year. So, and some of the teachers aren't parents. And so you can't disregard them for not having a child. I'm just saying, because people will often say, oh, you don't have a child, so you don't know. Yeah, majority of these people do know, especially about your child, because they spend majority of the day with them more than you. So that's one thing I push back on. Like, you have a lot of insight just because you're not a biological parent.
I've been working with kids all my adult life.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, but you have people, and look, that's the problem. Well, not the problem. That's the environment that a child is born in. Children are collateral damage usually of adults and our failures and our relationships
within the home. Yeah.
And so now that then ekes down to the kid, and then so they're walking out. Let me shout out the good folks there at the New Pitts Funeral Home. Was that Nate Luckett? Nate Luckett, and of course Deacon Michael Jones. Shout out to you guys. Caller, welcome to the program.
Black Funerals.
Good morning. You're on air.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Mornings.
I just want to clear a little something up. The gentleman, the jokester that called a few minutes ago. That is not the way I heard a little bit of that way, but could I just tell it the way that I have always heard that joke?
Yeah, please do. Maybe it'll be funny when you tell it.
Okay, I hope so.
Me too.
No, there was he had it right. There was a man and his wife, and there was a genie. And so the man loved his wife so much until he wanted the genie to give him a house. But he wanted the genie to give his wife double what the genie was giving him. So the genie granted him a house, granted the wife 2 houses. He wanted a brand new car. The genie granted him a car and the wife 2 cars. So the last grant that he wanted to be granted was, so he wanted the genie to beat him half to death. And if he beat him half to death, he wanted him to kill his wife, double. So y'all have a good day.
Hey, that was good. Hey, that's crazy, man. Beat him out to death. The dungeon, man. I can't believe you let somebody slide like that, man. The dungeon, man. I can't believe you let somebody slide on you like that.
He got him, didn't he?
Yeah, man. You gotta get your lick back, man. You gotta get your lick back, man.
Hey, he digged into that thing too. Yeah, he did.
And you see all these brothers going, yow, yow.
Good show, man.
Welcome to the program.
That was hilarious.
Good morning, you're on there.
Okay, thank you for taking my call. The one concern that I have, has anyone seen what this looks like? When the kids first arrive at school, who are they going to see greeting them? Teachers? Are police going to be in the hallway, in the cafeteria? How does this program work?
I believe they have a designated area where they will be.
Office.
I don't think they're just going to be at the front.
They've been in the
door.
schools before. They came
Yeah.
out of schools, 20?
Yeah, they've already been in the schools. It's just that they were
Okay,
removed. I think that was around
Okay,
2020.
my thing is,
Because, Bill Raspberry was a SRO.
I didn't know that.
okay, the only thing I'm concerned with is this. They said that our kids are potentially get more police citations
Mm-hmm.
If they
when
cutting up,
the
you ain't gonna
police
get no
are in the
citation
school.
for doing
So
what
if
you're
there's
supposed to
a
do.
fight, is it going to be on their record?
Now, that's the thing, man, that I was saying. Like, I think that these officers should act as counselors and to establish order instead of policing
Okay,
them.
and then can I say the next thing? If it's in the cafeteria, what are the teachers? Normally, a teacher should be able to cite something before it even happens. If there's a lot of conversation and yim yam going, that teacher ought to come over there and break it up before it extends it to something ugly.
So
it's
in
the
the
same thing about bullying.
so in
those
the
teachers,
in the past, to your point, a lot of police officers were frustrated with the teachers when they were in the schools because there was lack of classroom management. And so now, hopefully that is something that has been discussed. I do know that one of the main reasons, obviously, George Floyd was like the cherry on top to everything, but one of the things was that black and brown children were getting unnecessary citations. Like
Right.
they were getting citations for having their phones and disorderly conducts and things of that nature, just for having their phones. And they were suspended more than obviously their white counterparts and things of that nature. And so
that's always has
Mhm.
been the case.
So
my
those things
next
are
con-
still present and
Right.
were present in the past. We just hope that now, with the police officers receiving training, and then obviously we still need the teachers to have proper classroom management. And then once things
of
get
course. And then you know
escalated,
something else?
then the police will
The
come in.
teachers need help. You don't put a now. It was an incident that happened last year where a student put his hands on a teacher, and then he was suspended but put right back in her class. Now, what kind of stress do you think that caused for that teacher? Because if you put your hands on a teacher, now this kid is feeling empowered that, well, now you know what I can do to you if you give me a hard time. Those kind of situations, a principal, somebody ought to be in charge and look at some situations. So not only, and the other thing I'm concerned with, are they going to have something there in case a kid is having a mental episode?
Well, I think that's the training piece that DJ is talking about, being able to recognize, one, how do you de-escalate, because that's usually what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
And then understand that these are children. One of the interesting things is why a lot of young black men do not have driver's license is that the tickets and citations they received in school, those tickets went unpaid. And because they're unpaid, they're unable to get a license. That was the complaint that people had, where you're criminalizing certain behavior. Kids are going to fight in school. They was fighting in school when I was in school.
But I thought your juvenile record wasn't supposed to be able to. Well, that's.
It depends on what happened.
It's an unpaid citation.
And see, that's what's wrong. They need to look into those things and make sure what the guidelines are.
Because you can get a felony.
Is the principal, who's running the school? Is the principal running it or the police department?
And I think
those are the kind of things that we need to be really get a good understanding of. Because it was one situation. Okay, I'm sorry. I got all these things going on. Well, thank you for taking my call.
Right before Keith goes, I got a text message that said that the police are instructed by the union not to intervene and fight for their safety. So
they ain't instructed. Are they going to do it? It's the question. Who is watching them? Who's overseeing?
Yeah, but I mean, once stuff gets out of hand, then obviously that can.
And then they were also making a point.
No, I'm saying like that can go to a review. It's just like what stuff happened out here on the street. After that, an investigation has to happen and all of those
But do
type
you
of
think
things.
they
So
gonna
then,
do that with the school resource officers?
Well, and that's the whole. It seems, and I think that she was right. We don't know what it's
it's
going to
still a
look
job.
like. It's what it's going to look like.
Oh, my
but,
bad, teachers. It was.
But I think
teachers are
because
instructed
we're
not to
having,
intervene.
we're watching it. I think how it looks now, because prior to that, most of us didn't even know they were SROs in schools.
So
right?
I misspoke. It's teachers are instructed,
Right.
not to intervene.
And you know why? Because you've seen how many times the fight is turned from
Coach,
this student and this student, and now this student is fighting with the teacher. How many teachers have you seen basically defending themselves?
But
that teacher could be sued, and that's the whole.
But you're supposed to break up a fight though. Like I just can't let no kid.
Behind, right?
I just can't let no kid whoop on another kid. Like that. Come on now. Like this.
It depends on what that kid did, man. For me,
no. No. I mean,
you deserved it. You deserve that.
Somebody that was playing pop somebody, and then they pop them back. That's different.
Yeah.
But what we talking about is a full blown fight.
Somebody jumping somebody.
You gotta make sure. Like
and nowadays, y'all keep it real now. Keep it 100. Nowadays, ain't no head ups.
Yeah.
True.
Man, they would jump you in a minute.
You're right.
Oh, when did they start giving head ups? I didn't get any.
I did. Oh man,
I didn't get no heads up.
Man,
no, he talking about 1-on-1. He ain't not talking about, hey, I'm about to whoop you. He talking about like,
man, 1-on-1 head up.
1-on-1. He not talking about like, hey,
man,
3 o'clock, I'm gonna whoop him.
Meet me by the cafeteria.
That's just some movies or something.
Dude,
if you're saying you got jumped?
Yes, I'm saying that if you in an environment that ain't your neighborhood.
Oh yeah,
we talking about this in school.
Oh yeah,
in school.
Yeah.
In school, I went. No, hold on, Debo. I went to a school outside my district.
Parkman?
Parkman was outside my district. I didn't live in the Parkman neighborhood.
You got the pumpkin head at Parkman?
Dude, it would have been as bad as Fulton too. I'm not gonna say. Now, what I'm saying is that and that's the other thing. Let's not act like this is new, y'all.
Yeah.
It is not.
Right.
You fighting in the hallway, tripping.
Right.
That has been. Now I'm gonna say this though. At Parkman, I saw very few fights in the school. We saw a lot of fights outside the school because
for us, we were smart enough to know that if we fight on the way home or something, they got very little, that they can do now. They be if that boy's mama called us, they jumped on my son, or who was it? Then they call us all
there was
in.
An alley.
Catch them on the bus stop.
There's an alley right on Keith Avenue between 16th and 15th.
That's right.
Right up in that little alley.
That's right.
That's where they rumbled. Yeah. We knew on the playground. Sometimes they got on the play, but I didn't see a lot of fights in school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, a lot of it was outside the school. Now you've been threatened all day
in the school.
Now they come in the classroom.
They want to fight in the school. That's a badge of honor of some sort. That's
that's crazy, man.
With their phones out.
The more disruptive you can be, the better it is.
But I think the other piece of it was me fighting in school meant I got in trouble in school, which meant my mama gonna know. Yeah. Right. If I go to that alley and get whooped, my mama will see what happened. I fell.
Right.
No, hell no.
Hey,
I ran into a door.
She gonna know you lying. What happened to you?
Man, I got hit by a fist. I don't know where it came.
I don't know where it came from.
Well, you gonna get hit by a brick. Yeah, you gonna tell me what happened?
What?
No, man. So I think in that way, but I think the other
who wants to show back up to school the next day with their mama? To my DJ. And Mano jump me.
No, you ain't gonna go back up with your mama. You just gonna have to handle your business.
No. But
that's
what normally
happened one time where I was proud that my mama came to school. That was the only time, and that was with Mr. William Brown. Okay, I told the story before, but yeah, I think the other thing is that we live in an environment now where attention. People did things, but now we have video.
Yeah.
And so people will get out and they don't understand that in their minds, negative attention is still attention.
Yeah. They understand that, man.
Well, I
just
don't
care.
Clearly do.
No,
I think they do things and then
all
the consequences. Right.
No,
the consequences, you're not thinking about. I say the consequences are a forethought, not an afterthought. You're not thinking that it's gonna have long term. You're 15.
I mean, just like the cats that's doing dummy and you flashing money after you did the dummy. Like, you not thinking that it's consequences to it, but you want the attention of looking.
Because you're in the moment.
Because you're in the moment.
You're in the moment, and you can live in the moment to the point that you know what? There's a moment that's gonna come after this.
Yeah.
Now,
for every action, there is a reaction.
there you go. And we got bought sense.
Yeah.
That's our wisdom.
Yeah.
And we paid a high price. And they're going to pay. And that's the
They
whole
gonna
other
pay
thing.
some- yeah,
I
you're
said
right.
about young people, like sometimes I know you don't want them to go through what they're going to go through.
But they got to.
It's called the rite of passage,
They
man.
got to.
You're going to find out real quickly that fat meat is greasy.
Oh, Doc, greasy as a fool.
Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on there.
You're right.
Caller, you're on there.
I don't know what's going on with these phones.
Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on there.
Good morning.
Caller, you're on there.
Debo, you said you had some things on funerals?
No. They
That was yesterday?
Y'all
Yeah,
finally
that was
let me in.
No, I just asked you 16 times. Are you on there?
I said, hello 1,000 times.
We couldn't hear you.
But let me just make my point.
Your
And
parent?
y'all like know who I is.
We know who
Oh,
he
we
is.
definitely
Doc.
know who you are.
Okay, I've been a teacher for 60-some years, and I went to school in Atlanta, Georgia, and I have submitted this suggestion for the longest. They need to have school detectives. I went to school in Atlanta in the 50s, late 50s. They had school detectives, and they wore suits. That's what they need to have, and they should have some high rank. And then I think they should grow their own SOR. They need to avoid that SOR, what you call it, acronym. They need to say, I thought when they were saying SOR, they meant safety officers like we had when I was in the school system. They need to have trainee police officers supporting school detectives who have on suits. So you won't be looking at the police all the time, but the police is there. And like you said, they should have special training, and so they can deal with these kids. When I was at Pulaski, like Dr. Parris said, these students were bused to Pulaski, and all of this, just about all the students, they had, when they got off the bus, that was a gang fight. People were waiting for them. And I told the school system about that. They didn't do anything about it. But they need to monitor everything. And like you said, they need social workers. They need real ones who can deal with things. I taught at Clark Street Elementary School back in the probably the 90s. And that was a very good school, and they used the students who came from the community. They didn't select them, and it was a high-performing school. And what I noticed when I was there, they had some very good paras and aides. They had to handle on those students, and the aides were in the hallway doing one-on-one with the students who needed individual attention. They also had a math teacher who was very good. He took students out of the class in groups, and he taught them math, and they learned math. And they had the same thing for other students. And I just was listening to y'all on the radio the other day, the Academy of Science and whatever. Their method, it's a charter school, their method should be looked into. And another thing is our school should graduate students who are work ready, and they need to be getting paid while they're learning and working as apprentices. And y'all have a good one.
All right, you're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
DJ the Protege.
Welcome back. Coach Jermaine said
I'm
that
scared, Coach. Call back.
Yep. He don't want no problems. So, it was an accident. He didn't do it. And it wasn't him.
He said, DJ, tell Coach Cole. And then when DJ went to tell it,
He didn't tell him fast enough. Coach ain't gonna pull up on me and scare me.
Ride down on you, man.
Hey, man.
He should have sent you a whisper text.
Whisper.
Colin, thank you for your patience. You on there? Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh boy, it's doing it again.
It took him off.
No, it's there, but ain't nothing coming through.
Good morning. You on there?
Once, twice.
Is there another call?
3 times a lady. Oh, he's back.
Good morning. You on there?
Hey, something going on with y'all phone line.
Yep.
Okay.
Go on, man, before we lose you. Hello?
Keith, you went to Parkland just like I did.
I sure did.
So did I.
But you didn't go when, I don't know, who was that? Debo just said that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Keith, we were what there, 69 to 72 or something like that?
Yep.
So just imagine if we had cell phones back then and they could see what we was doing.
Oh yeah. You right, man. You right.
And so we now here's the difference. I heard Debo say something that our parents didn't play that stuff and they was basically on board with the teachers. That made a big difference.
Yeah.
Wasn't no parents coming up there trying to jump on teachers in our time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that made a big difference. Keith, me and Keith always talk about our parents. What was I saying? I didn't send you to school to clown. I sent you to school to learn.
Yeah.
So not only were you going to catch it at school, you was going to catch it at home too. And depending on who your neighbor was, you might have caught it in between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when your uncle found out about it, you gonna catch it from your uncle.
Yeah.
Oh, your mama told me you up there cutting up at the school, huh?
Yeah.
And
It
so
was a
I
community
think,
effort, man. We work together.
And I think that what made the difference with us, because we I'm not gonna say no names, but me and Keith know we knew who the cut-ups was. But like Keith said too, though, times they was in class learning too, because we had that type of environment where the teacher. What did you say, Debo? I'm gonna wait right here for him, and I'm gonna name one teacher. And Keith knows this too. It's probably more, but this is the one I remember the most, Mr. Larry Gross.
Yep. And let me say
Gross.
something about Mr. Gross. I don't know how he broke his hand. He had this cast on for almost a year, and like I said, pimps used to bring pencil and paper to his class. He wasn't playing it, right? I learned this term, copious notes, from Larry Gross. But Mr. Gross took a group of us to Savior's Day. That's how I went to Savior's Day in Chicago. I heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So it was that he understood the discipline, especially when it came to the boys. It wasn't no cut up. And we had X number of male teachers there.
Yeah.
Now look,
black male teachers.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you something.
That's important.
Yeah, that pour into.
But I had some female teachers who Miss Bell, she could have been 5'2". That woman, oh my God, that woman, there was no, so I think you're right, and it was something that DJ said. It's up to the teacher to manage that classroom. And you've always had disruptive students there. What do you do? So what did they do with the disruptive students, primarily males? They put them in Special C.
And what was I about to say? I kind of just lost my train of thought real quick. Let me just give me a minute to think of it. And Keith, I don't know if you ever witnessed this, but at the end of the year, the last day of school, I'm going to ask you a question. What did you see at the end of the last day of school?
I don't know. That's when I started really hooking school. So what? Oh, because the weather was nice.
I witnessed this with my own eyes. I saw a couple of teachers, basically white teachers, get jumped on at the end of the school year.
Well, I saw my 7th grade
year. We weren't angels, but we are different than what's going on right now. I was having a discussion with my grandboys the other day when I was taking them to school. And I was telling them how teachers used to whoop us. They lost their mind. Yep. Y'all teachers used to whoop y'all?
Bradley Carter.
And I'm like, yep. And y'all parents let them do it?
Yep. And then
I
got
was
one
like,
and got one when I got to the crib.
Right. And I told them too, I said, if we was talking in school, chewing gum in school, you would have to write on the chalkboard on a piece of paper 100 times. I would not talk in class. I would not talk in class. I would not chew gum in class. They was like, wow. And I'm like, y'all just don't know how spoiled y'all are today, the stuff that y'all get away with.
And I
Y'all
think
couldn't have
the other
got away
piece
with
of
that
it
stuff when I was coming up.
was that you never wanted your parents to know what you were doing. I think maybe there's a generation now where, they were tripping in school. So of course the kids gonna trip in school because they trip, right? Or they don't see the value. Look, my mother was first generation moving from the South to the North for a better life. And my mother clearly understood the value of education and how important that was in terms of what we would be able to do in life. And now where people don't necessarily value education because they don't necessarily see the benefits of it, it's that environment. And for me,
So
I would
school, Keith. At least they wanted you to at least graduate from high school. After that, I mean, some of your parents would try and get you to go to further your education, but at least through high school, because when we were coming up, you had all the factory jobs, A.O. Smith, Alice, all those jobs are just waiting for you out there. So once you graduated from high school, you could still go over there to one of those factories and make a good living, buy a house, and put your kids through college. But
I think,
changed.
how we value that, how we value learning, I think becomes important, and people don't see it as a ticket out. We had other avenues too. I mean, you wanted to be an athlete. You talked about why in boxing you had so many black and brown people because that was your come up, right?
And you also didn't want to be the dummy in the class either. So, I mean, we challenged each other also.
Yeah, you'd also didn't want to be in certain classes the smartest in the class. That was a beat down. You can read.
I just kind of want to get that point across that our times that we living in, and let me ask y'all a question. I'm gonna get off and see if y'all want to respond to this, because this is a thing. Because we were so close to the struggle. Do you think that's what made the difference?
Yeah.
These kids don't really know nothing about the struggle that our grandparents and all of us had come up through. And you think that might be part of the difference why we see so much of this going on today?
Yeah, I think.
And I hang up and listen.
Appreciate you, man. I think that it is. That's a great point because
struggle to what though? Because it's a lot of our kids.
No, what he was talking about, like the struggle, the civil rights. Because we came of age, we were kids doing civil rights, doing Vietnam. We came to age doing women's liberation. We came to age doing gay liberation. So there was these things that was happening that had not happened before at the level that it was happening. And so, you were conscious because you were so aware of the things. And then, of course, being in an environment like Parkman, where
I don't think that's it.
What do you mean?
I just disagree with that statement.
What statement?
What that George made, and that you kind of agree
that we were close to the struggle.
You are saying the difference, because, like I said, so kids are still being picked on for being gay in school. There is a lot of socioeconomic issues that are still going on now. Granted, the Vietnam War and those veterans coming back into the community, into the households, that's different. But there's a lot of struggle that that can be really relatable to the kids today, and your generation when you were in school.
But think about this. If you saw a riot, it would have been, think about in your lifetime, what riots have you seen in your lifetime?
A riot?
Yeah. There you go.
Probably just George Floyd.
George Floyd.
I mean, when
here?
Yeah, here we had a couple.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, think about this. In 1967, 100 cities had riots in black communities. I think that's what George is saying.
Was that with the housing?
No, that was just frustration. And then in '68, we had another spate because of the King assassinations.
Mhm.
So we saw that.
So the housing stuff was in the 70s then.
Yeah, the open housing marches were in the '60s. They passed the open housing federal law in 1968 after the assassination of Dr. King. But here, the NAACP, Youth Council, and other groups, Father Grappy, Vel Phillips, they were walking across that viaduct. It was protest.
I think that
we came up to the age of
struggle-
protest.
It's generally speaking, but the types of struggle was probably different, but struggle was still the same. And
Well,
so
your
I don't-
individual struggles is real because we still had dysfunction in our families there. Let's not give this idea that we were in ideal situations.
But even politically as well, though.
You got Coach online. Please talk to Coach.
Good morning, you're on there.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
You too, Debo.
This man over here sweating.
Listen here, Coach. I'm scared, man. So I had to make sure you got in.
This man
I
sweating.
called in and the phone rings.
It just hung up again. Coach, I'm leaving.
Oh man, he's sweating bullets.
It just hung up again. I'm leaving, Coach. Hold on, do you got another call? So you can take this call?
Let's see if we get this caller. Welcome to the program.
I don't know what's going on.
Good morning, you're on there.
Yeah, I heard y'all talking about struggle. What I wanted to say in a lot of these black families, some of this struggle that's coming is unnecessary, especially when you have kids. And from what I've been seeing in some of these households, the toxicity is coming from the mother and the father. And my thing is why bring kids in this world if you know you was going to be a no good bastard and a no good nigga and you was going to put a husband before your child, and then you're sitting around the house smoking joints, drinking half pints and keeping all that niggerism, and then you wondering why your kids is not turning out.
What I will say is that some of the what I will say is that one of the biggest differences between like today's time and then your time is that, you know, in your time the phrase it takes a village, you know, and the village mentality, we don't have that now. Whereas back then, when y'all talk about just how you all's upbringing was and just how the neighborhoods was and all of that stuff.
Let me say this, DJ.
It seemed more of a togetherness.
It was, but there was the same level of dysfunction. There were abusive parents. There were parents dealing with substance abuse. Now, so you talk about smoking weed in front of your kids. How many dudes saw their daddy get drunk from Friday to Sunday?
Beer,
you know, and then all the abuse that went along with that. So we have a tendency to, when you were a kid, it was so idyllic, and it was just wonderful. You know, the good old days weren't always that good. Well, and even for the kids today, they're going to say the same thing. In spite of, we had fun, but to give this impression, like one of the things I always push back, we was poor and we didn't know it.
Yeah.
Shit, if you poor, you know it.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't one of those things where, you know, you might go, so maybe you weren't as poor, maybe materially you were at a certain point, but certainly the behaviors that you see now, it was, no, I could speak for my family. I could speak for others' families. We know it was all jacked up. And now maybe the difference is that we live in this video age where people, there was an article.
But you don't hear now, it takes a village, right? We always heard that. Right. But now, just generally how people speak of, you know, the neighborhoods and, you know, schooling and everything, there is no real feeling of a village mentality versus back then when y'all would bring it up, you know, y'all neighbors knew each other. I mean, obviously, you know, like you said, alcoholism and things of that nature, but like there was now I could be wrong, obviously, because I wasn't living there, but you all give off the impression that there was a more togetherness back then.
But I'm telling you, kids who live, kids who have their blocks today, experienced the same thing. They're tight on that block. If they've been now, the difference is we were so contained. We have a little bit more mobility. We were forced to that was first of all, when I was coming along, we were only 10% of the population. We all lived in a certain area. So everybody knew. You hear us talking today, and you go like, oh, I knew such and such, because then there was so few, you knew just about everybody. So now there are more black people in Milwaukee. And so the village looks different. But no, man, and it depended on the block you grew up on. Fifth Street, we just happened to be a pretty cohesive block. Other blocks maybe wasn't so much. But the level, look, my generation was that generation that was really victimized by crack. That was my generation, right? I'm talking about us coming to age. Those are my friends who were out there on the pipe, right? And then you had it where then you had by the late 80s and 90s, it was so monetized that then you had young people who were selling the drug. That was the difference. You didn't have kids selling crack early on. These were adults. These were grown-ass people. But then because of the money that was being generated, and now you're dealing with systemic poverty. I don't hear people talking about, oh, man, you could glorify a crack dealer, but for a lot of those kids out there who's putting work in, they was trying to eat. You know, I mean, and so, you know, and then you started seeing, so then you had certain things, but you're right. We could leave and get a job at A.O. Smith, but that changed. Man, that started changing in the 70s, by the 80s. And then when Reagan got in and we had the Great Recession that people don't talk about as much, and living through that, we found out, man, that, okay, it was tough. So I think George's point, proximity to the struggle, you were a little bit more conscious. I think after years, it looks like everything is okay. The target is moving. And then you have George Floyd, or you have Michael Brown, or you have Trayvon Martin. You have, what's my guy, Tamir Rice. You know, you had Sandra Bland. Now, these are just recent. In the 80s, we had Ernie Lacy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then that precipitated
in
the whole
in the 90s. What's my guy who recently passed away? In LA.
Oh, Rodney King.
Rodney King.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and again, and they
just get along.
Yeah. So I think generations are different only because of technology, but they're still the same in terms of human struggle and what human beings go through. But I think that Al's point is a great point when you begin to talk about the kids become the collateral damage of bad adult behavior.
Well,
can't put it on the kids because it ain't the kids. You know, it's the environment that they find themselves in a lot of times, which they have no control over.
Yeah, everything that we do, just even as people, is a learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So if kids are acting out and clowning, this is something that they learned from seeing, hearing, whoever they are around, put that seed in them.
Yeah.
And when that seed get to growing,
I remember when I was a teenager, so I ain't gonna be a hypocrite like these adults until I became an adult. Until I became an adult. You know, I mean, I when I became an adult, I understood some of the things in terms of maybe the relationships my mom had, because now I'm an adult.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know what goes into it, but as a kid, you don't understand. You have an understanding of a child, and so you don't know.
I'm gonna give it to you the way I know you understand it. What the Bible said? When I was a child, I did what?
Spoke as a child, thought as a child.
Mm-hmm. And I became an adult, I did what?
Put away childish things.
There you go. I'm gonna leave it just like that.
We need to put an asterisk there.
Right, because not all
Not
adults
everybody, right.
childish things.
But I wasn't speaking for everybody. I said because that's all I'm really responsible for.
Preach, black man.
I would give you an offering, Debo, but you ain't worth 50 cents. So. That's funny, though.
I'll give you a penny for your thoughts.
Won't you come?
Hey, the dungeon, man. We had two people get some jokes, man. They taking your job in front of your face, man.
The doors are open.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that one about wife wanted double.
Yeah.
Right. You want a double for her?
Yeah. Give her double. So beat me half to death.
Give her death.
So he killed her.
Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy. I love that woman. Lord have mercy.
Wow.
And then at the funeral, he gonna be inconsolable. Lord,
they done took Shirley.
My baby.
Why you take Shirley, Lord?
Why you take Shirley?
Nobody know about that backroom deal he cut.
Right. Nobody know nothing about that.
Then next week he up in Vegas.
Right.
Party.
With the new wife.
Right.
Yeah, because he got married in Vegas.
Right. And you know what, Debo, that came up with the funerals. Who tried to sit on the front row? Which one? And then they find out about some kids you didn't know nothing about. Oh Lord!
Black funerals. I think you need to revisit that, Keith, because we kept it clean, man. We didn't really go as deep as we could have gone.
Man, it just be like, oh man.
When you meet your siblings for the first time.
Right. Jermaine is my cousin.
Hey, I found out at a funeral that somebody that I've been knowing forever is kin folks to me on my mama's side. I saw him sitting in the family section. I'm like, huh? He said, yeah, I married such. Oh man, we cousins.
Yeah.
Hey, DJ.
Have a safe, productive weekend.
Thank you, Debo.
Yes, sir.
Jermaine, thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
And brother, we thank you for the joke of the day.
Yeah, Doc, that was funny.
All right. Good Lord willing, Creek the Rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.